Vice Chairman on the Defense and Interior Committee. I like the way you said, I am no longer in opposition.
I've transited long ago.
And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on what is happening in Boku.
Thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to say good morning to your cherished listeners. And good morning to the Honorable Minister of Interior. Good morning to the GP, the Chief of Defense Staff, and everybody who's involved. Good morning to our own eminent, the Royal Highness, Otu to the second. My brother, Boku is festering, and the conflict in Boku must be resolved. We don't have an option. The only thing we can do is to bring peace to Boku. In bringing peace to Boku, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama demonstrated political will. He's shown to the world that Boku is at the center of the peace and security of this country. And he endorsed the continuous mediation by the Otunfo-led team. There are two things that I want to talk about. Boku is becoming violent, or has become violent. In normal peacekeeping environment, when violence gets to a point that we're talking about high rate, security arrangements are changed completely. Under normal circumstances, the police are in charge of internal security. The military only get involved when the police are overwhelmed. In the situation that we're experiencing in Boku, the reverse should be the case. The military will have to take the lead, clear the mess. Police will follow up, build social cohesion, build trust, manage crime, and ensure that society will begin on a new foundation to develop. So we cannot continue with the status quo, where the police are continuing to provide leadership in a conflict that has become violent. You know, when you have military providing leadership, the approach is different. When the military sweeps through a particular place, he will appreciate what they came to do. And everybody around will wish that it never happened. And everybody will pray for peace. And you go to look for the police. When the police arrive, they will talk about social cohesion. They will talk about collaboration to manage crime. They'll begin to talk about community policing. And that's how we begin to build a new community. But you don't go with the status quo when guns are everywhere and they're firing every night. Banditry is one of the things that affects violent conflict areas, that blurs the reality of the conflict. Bandits take interest in the mess, they milk from the mess, and they add more color to the mess, and the situation becomes more messy. But you cannot do anything about that until the conflict is resolved. Dealing with bandits is not a difficult thing because it's purely a criminal enterprise. And cracking it is not a difficult thing because it can be done with all the force of the state. But because it's happening within a particular sphere, and we're also thinking about finding a lasting solution to the conflict, it blurs the lines, and in an attempt to deal with banditry, you will probably stray into dealing with innocent people who probably are just protecting themselves against reprisal attack from other feuding factions. So for me, if you look at what is happening in Boku now, we are blurring the issues. Police and military have the responsibility to provide a safe environment, but they don't provide a solution to the conflict. The police and military on the ground are supposed to be keeping the peace. But if there is nothing to keep, they will try to enforce what is available. And if there is nothing available, their presence there becomes questionable because somebody must create something for them to keep. Somebody must create something for them to protect. Somebody must create something for them to enforce. And it is a peace process. And that peace process is being led by His Royal Highness Otumfuo Osei II. The Otumfuo-led mediation process must be a strategic plan understood by all the stakeholders in the conflict resolution arena. The police should understand that as Otumfuo drives the mediation process, this is what we should be doing as police. And it should be in line with Otumfuo's thinking. The military must be made to understand this is your specific role as we look at ending the conflict in Boku. And that specific role of the military is integrated in the strategic implementation plan of the Otumfuo-led mediation team. If we operate in silos, if the police do not understand the direction of Otumfuo, if the military do not understand the direction of Otumfuo, if Otumfuo do not appreciate what the military will be doing today and tomorrow, do not appreciate what the police will be doing next month, and we operate in a disjointed environment, it becomes problematic. So all of us within the setup to have an integrated thinking to know where we are going. And I say all the time, a strategy becomes the best strategy if it becomes every party's everyday business. The strategy to end Boku conflict, the police should have a role, and the police should know that this role of ours should be our business on daily basis, connected to the center, the person who is driving the peace process, should be able to appreciate what we are doing, contributing to the peace we are looking for. So simply put, let the roles, in other words, let the positions be interchanged in Boku for security. Military should provide leadership. The police should go to the second stage and follow up after the military goes through. This is what we do internationally when conflict becomes violent. But in all this, it should be part of the strategic plan of the Otumfuo-led mediation team. That notwithstanding, I also want to recommend that the Boku Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee has done a lot of work in the past. And I believe that they are in a position to help the Otumfuo-led mediation team to stand the ground and understand the nuances so that together we can begin to look at a positive Boku. Boku cannot embarrass us. We can't fail as a people to resolve the Boku conflict. Out there in the international arena, men and women in uniform from Ghana are seen as very professional. We know our staff. Conflict management experts, trained from Ghana, working internationally, are seen as some of the best brains the world can find. We can't sit back in our own country and let Boku fester. At least we are lucky and happy to have His Excellency the President giving it all the leverage. He's demonstrated rather he has the political will to nip this in the bud. What happened recently is nothing good to write home about. That 2 police officers shot dead, but at least we should know nobody deserves to die in that manner. But when you are within an operational environment of that nature, you can't go out without approval from your commander. You cannot even go to town on your own without being in uniform. Internationally, we talk about the buddy system. The buddy system is a situation where they will tell you that, look, risk is very high, and never step out of operational grounds or out of camp or out of the barracks without a colleague of yours. You need to move in pairs, at least. And if you are moving in pairs, you should be armed. And you should have approval from your commander. They should know where you are going and when you are coming back. And you should be on radio. If something happens, you call for backup. And within 5-10 minutes, colleagues who are closer to you on patrols will respond to your distress call. So these are things that we should begin to look at. But let me land in this first leg by saying that I can see hope under His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama regarding the Boku conflict. And all of us should appreciate the fact that you have a role, I have a role, we all have roles. But we need to understand the interconnectivity of the various roles as we all look to the positive end of this nagging conflict that has bedeviled us for years.
Well, they are also of the opinion that this is beating about the bush. That one of the things you need to resolve immediately as a new government is a different approach from what the MPP did, where they protected the enskinment of what others refer to as an illegal chief. That if you arrest the man at the center of that enskinment somewhere in 2024, that will essentially address the matter to a large extent. What do you think?
Thank you very much. When you appoint a mediator into a conflict, you don't dictate to the mediator. What you are talking about has to do with law enforcement. What you are talking about has to do with the role of the men and women in uniform. And I am saying, let the specific role of the men and women in uniform in Boku be grafted onto a comprehensive plan developed by the mediator. So that if you are even a police officer in Boku and you are going to arrest somebody, you are arresting the person because it will contribute positively to the whole peace process. There are things that you will not do, and under normal circumstances you should have done, that you will not do because not doing it will contribute positively to the peace process. So it's all about understanding the peace process. It's all about understanding the comprehensive mediation plan. And all of you as an integrated force will appreciate that each of us has roles, but our roles must communicate. We operate in groups or in teams, but the teams must communicate, and we all have to get towards ensuring that the mediation succeeds. You see, the truth is that it is the mediation that will bring the peace. It is not the policeman on the ground. It is not the soldier on the ground. It is a mediation between the feuding parties that will gradually bring out something that we call a comprehensive peace agreement that will have timelines for us to respect, and we'll monitor the implementation of it, and gradually we'll arrive somewhere. But as we speak, when you hear people in the conflict, whether it's the police or the military or civil society, when people are speaking, you listen to all of them. Everybody expresses their own idea how it should be done. But the point is that all these beautiful ideas must be grafted onto a comprehensive plan, being driven by the chief mediator. If that is not done, we'll be operating in silos, and gradually we can't have any nation approach to this whole situation. The fact that something good was happening in the past administration and there is a change of government doesn't necessarily mean because there's a change in government we should throw away anything that was even good. No. It is a conflict that has stayed on for years. NDC has been in power before. MPP has been in power before. NPP came back. We are also back again. The truth is that let's look at it as a national problem. And let nobody wear political glasses and be looking at, oh, when MPP was there, this was happening, and now MPP and NDC. No. This is a national problem, and we should have our national glasses on to look at the fact that Boku has gotten to a national level, and we need to give that national attention.
So for you, whatever happens should be part of the Otum Force plan. What the soldiers do on the ground, what the police do on the ground should be complementary to the mediation efforts.
Should be complementary to the mediation efforts. You see, we are talking about an integrated approach to building trust, engendering trust, and building confidence among the feuding parties for them to begin to see hope ahead of them. That there is hope. Why would people continue to arm themselves? What is the use of the weapon? The use of the weapon is to shoot my enemy or protect my life. So if I get to a point that I don't even have an enemy to shoot, and the state is capable of protecting me, I'll prefer to use my money to go and buy chenki and eat. In other words, I'll prefer to use my money to go and buy cheese and eat in Boku town than to go and buy a weapon that will be so useless that I can use it. So when the use of the weapon is no longer necessary, in other words, you keep a weapon for 3-4 years and you have never gotten the opportunity to shoot it, you begin to realize that I don't need to arm myself. So disarmament has a natural process. And that is the soft approach. The soft approach to disarmament is to make sure that there is trust within the system, that the people who are carrying the weapons will begin to say, we don't need the weapons again because I will not be attacked by any enemy. There's no any enemy anywhere. And the state is capable of protecting me if somebody is even there. Why will I continue to use my money to buy weapons? That is a soft approach to this government. So whatever we are all doing, all of us, all groups involved, or all stakeholders involved in the Boku peace process, must be anchored on a comprehensive plan, developed and being driven by the chief mediator. Because the end result is through mediation, not through the gun. No solution can be found through the barrel of the gun. No solution can be found irrespective of the number of bullets that we expend in Boku. The solution is embedded in peace process that is being led by Otu II.
But let me conclude with you on this note. You also agree that, because the judgment is there for anybody to read. The judgment clearly identifies and addresses this issue. Have we allowed the politics around this issue to fester so long that we need mediation to resolve a matter whose solution seems to be clearly addressed by a Supreme Court judgment?
Thank you. If force is applied and you don't have good results to bring society back to normalcy, if the laws are respected, or probably the laws are applied, and still you have problems, you need to understand that the law is made by man, for man. And if the law alone cannot suffice, man is still available to find innovative ways to make life worth living. And that is why we all agree. Whatever the law has done, and whatever the law says, we support and respect it. The supremacy of the law cannot be questioned. But the fact is that the supremacy of the citizenry, or in other words, the supremacy of the human being, because it's the human being that creates the law. So people see the law and see there is a challenge. People say we are still respecting the law, yet we are not at it. Man must do something. And that something is an innovation that is being led by somebody we all revere. Until he says, this is a difficult task for me, I believe that Otunfo should be able to drive this through. Let's give him time. But we all need to appreciate what the plan is. What are our various roles in that plan? You know, when you talk about a strategic blueprint, whether it's for development or for conflict resolution, if you are a stakeholder in that strategic blueprint, you should know that even if you get up in the morning and you drink water, 1 cup of water, and you go out and stretch your legs a bit and come back, and it is according to that plan, you know your role in the plan and you know what you are doing and the contribution to ensure that the plan succeeds. So that plan becomes every participant or every stakeholder's everyday business, understanding clearly what you are doing. You can be a taxi driver employed within the plan, and as you drive all the guests who come and go, you know what you are doing to also contribute to the success of that plan. So let that plan be transparent enough for stakeholders within the conflict resolution sphere, and gradually we will all provide a support for the mediation process to succeed. And I've said, bullets don't bring peace. Right? Uniformed men keep peace. Uniformed men ensure that to try to de-escalate conflict. Uniformed men create buffer zones to prevent reprisal attacks. Uniformed men engender trust between communities. But the peace itself will have to be driven by the peace process. And that is why I'm encouraging the Otunfo-led mediation team to work in tandem with the Boku Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee, blend it, and let's see how all of us will agree that Boku must be resolved by Ghana, and we are capable of doing that. Now that we have solid political commitment from His Excellency the President, we shouldn't and we can't fail. Thank you.